Hello and welcome to your lesson today, which is continuing with South America, and today we're looking at sustainability. The main aim of the lesson is to look at how cities in South America can become sustainable. And to get there, we're going to first of all understand the causes of unsustainable urban living, then explain how Curitiba became a model sustainable city, and then we're going to evaluate the best strategies to help a city become sustainable. The equipment you need is on the slide, so let's get going. To start us off then, we need to ensure that we are reminding ourselves of what sustainability means. So sustainability just means that whatever we're doing now, we need to be able to do in the future as well, and it can't jeopardise or harm future populations. So the environment, we need to ensure that the biodiversity, so the number of plants and animals, is not being harmed now, but also will be there in the future for future generations. For the economy, we need to make sure we've got jobs now and we're making money and we're making profit now, but we will also be able to do that in the future. And for society, for social, we need to ensure that our population are happy and healthy, and that whatever we're doing now will enable them to be so in the future. So with that in mind, you now have 5 pictures. And what I would like you to do is to tell me what's happening in these pictures and why it is unsustainable. So, for example, water pollution, it is environmentally and socially unsustainable, and you're going to come up with the reasons why. There is a massive question at the bottom of the slide. Can you pause this picture now and complete this activity? It should take you about 2 minutes. Okay then, so you've got water pollution, environmentally and socially unsustainable because it's going to pollute the water, which is going to harm food chains in the water, so it's not good for the environment, and socially it's going to cause diseases or that build-up of waste. We've also got congestion or traffic, which is environmentally and socially unsustainable because of the air pollution caused, and socially it'll make people late, and also the air pollution can make people get asthma and other breathing difficulties. We've also got waste. Again, similar to water waste, but this one is on land, so being environmentally and socially unsustainable. We've got a lack of opportunities, which leads to crime, and that is socially unsustainable. And then we have a lack of public transport, which kind of links to congestion, because it will mean that there's more cars on the road. So bearing that in mind then, we know that cities in general are not sustainable places. We're now going to look then at why South American cities are so unsustainable. Can you choose your developing, secured or mastered task and complete this within the next 4 minutes? Can you please pause your video now? Let's go through the answers then. So for developing, for the first picture, you should have something about factories. And NEEs, like Brazil, are industrialising, which means that they are building factories for secondary jobs, and this will increase air pollution, including carbon dioxide, so having a negative impact on the environment. The next picture represents a growing population. And in Brazil particularly, you've got people moving from the countryside, rural, to urban, the city, for the jobs. And this will increase the waste that's being produced, and that will often end up in the rivers or the oceans. The next picture is quite a tricky one. It's representing the growing of a richer middle class, which means there are more people to buy products that will use electricity. And if that electricity is made by burning fossil fuels, then that again will increase that CO2 being released. Also, in this example, we've talked about washing machines. So it's not just electricity, it's resources like water that's being used more, which is not sustainable, especially in big cities within Brazil, as there is a drought in northern Brazil. And then finally, this is an easy one. You've got the increased wealth, which means there's more cars. And as you know, more cars means more air pollution from those CO2 emissions. Now we know why a lot of cities are unsustainable. I want to introduce you to a city that is putting a lot of things in place to become sustainable, and this is Curitiba, a city within Brazil. For developing, I would like you to describe the location of Curitiba using the first box here with those 3 bullet points. Secure, set 4 and above, I'd like you to describe its location in relation to Rio de Janeiro. And for mastered, I'd like you to include the scale bar and compass points to say where it is in relation to another city, and include where it is in relation to the lines of latitude. So the scale bar is just above where it's labelled Atlantic Ocean, and then the equator is 0 degrees, and where it says Tropic of Capricorn, that line of latitude is 30 degrees south. Can you pause the video and give yourself 4 minutes for this? Now we know where Curitiba is, we've got to reflect on how it is sustainable. What I would like you to do first though is just pause the video for 30 seconds and reflect on that Stop Think SMSC box. Curitiba then is sustainable in many ways, and I've just put some examples here on the board. So you've got a rapid public transport system, you've got lots of green spaces, they can exchange their rubbish for fresh fruit and vegetables, and a lot of the buildings have got soil and grass roofs. What you need to be able to do is to say why any of these strategies are sustainable. So you've got to link them to why they're good for people, money and the environment. So we'll just do that together now. So I'll use the green spaces as an example. So that's good for people because it creates an area for exercise and for well-being. The economy because it will attract tourists and people into the area to spend money. And the environment because it will create habitats to increase the biodiversity in the area. So knowing that, we now are going to do our final activity of the lesson, which is to use the information packs that are linked onto class charts to create a revision sheet about Curitiba. For developing, you'll need to tell me how each of these strategies help the economy, society and the environment, which would mean that they're sustainable. For secure, which is set 3 and above, or if you want to push yourselves in developing, I want you to tell me which of the strategies are the most sustainable and why. And for mastered sets 2 and above, or people that want to push themselves further, I need you to tell me what Curitiba needs to do to improve and or the negatives of the current strategy. So for example, with the transport, even though they have this rapid bus system, if the buses are still using diesel and petrol, they will still emit CO2 and have an impact on the greenhouse effect and climate change. Can you give yourselves 10 minutes to make this activity? You have got a template of what that could look like. So you've got an A4 piece of paper divided into 4 with the 3 things that you need to include if you're doing mastered. Please pause the video. Thank you for taking part in today's lesson. We have understood the causes of unsustainable urban living. We've looked at Curitiba as an example, and through that last activity, we have evaluated the strategies of cities becoming sustainable. Can you now please upload the picture of your revision sheet as your evidence of understanding these 3 parts of the learning journey? Thank you for participating, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.